Hey everyone, this is a video guide series to version 1.15 strategies for Minecraft speedrunning as of the end of March 2021. There have been some really exciting developments in new strategies in the 1.9 to 1.15 category, and so I wanted to go over a couple of those strategies and why speedrunners are choosing to run 1.15 over 1.14. So the reason I'm putting a date on this is because this stuff is all fairly new, and I think over the next coming months, these strategies will be more optimized as we kind of learn and play the version a little bit more. So this first video is just going to go over the main three strategies we found and why 115 over 114. And the next three videos are going to go in depth and get very detailed about the trading patterns and decision making in the main three strategies. All right, so why the sudden interest in version 1.15 in the 1.9 to 115 category? And the reasoning really lies behind the pie chart. So the advanced Shift F3 menu, if you cycle through that pie chart, it actually tells you a lot of info that's very helpful for this category version. So let me just go through the version advantages first, and then we'll get into the specifics in a little bit. So in version 1.14, there is a second day restock glitch, which is not in 1.15. This is typically why runners have decided to run this version in this category before. On the second day, all restocks will result in a refresh trade for the trade that was currently out. It will be fully discounted and it will infinitely restock. Now, version 1.15 doesn't have this advantage in day 2, but the day 1 trading is actually the same as in 1.14, and it has the added full functionality of the Shift F3 pie chart, which runners are using a bit in 1.16. And I'll show you this in-game right here. So in version 1.14.4, when I press Shift and F3, I get a pie chart at the bottom right that gives me some information about what's around me, but not too much. We have to go in more detail into which things are ticking around me to figure out any useful information. So if I press this number 4 and go to the tick advancement of the pie chart, in 1.14.4 it's bugged and it doesn't actually show me anything extra past the root default pie chart, which is not super helpful in telling me anything about what's around me. Now in version 1.15.2, the advanced Shift F3 menu has improved its functionality to include a lot more things. So now when I open up the pie chart, I can go to the tick number. So I press the number 3 on my, which will activate my third key on my hotbar. But then I want to press level and then entities and then block entities. And that's going to give me some really powerful information in version 1.15. In fact, in this example, if I spawn in this hill and there's savanna and maybe desert around me, and I want to know if I have a brewing stand or not, or a village, this tells me right here, a bell always indicates a village is within your rendered chunks. And if the village has a brewing stand, it will show up as a brewing stand right here. And so I would know to either reset the seed or continue playing it if my strategy involved a savanna village. And see, it's over there with the brewing stand. So I also can maybe know which direction to go. If we go too far away from the thing that is ticking and we refresh the menu, eventually it will go away from our little pie chart. So if I do Shift F3 again, we could see that the bell is now out of the rendered frames and only the brewing stand is in the rendered chunks. And if I refresh it again, now we see no bell or brewing stand. So I can kind of tell which direction things are based on that. We didn't think this would be incredibly helpful when it first came out, but it's turning out to be a very useful tool in version 1.15. Now, the other absolutely huge discovery usage of the pie chart in version 1.15 is using it in the Nether. In version 1.16, players have started to do this a little bit to find fortresses and bastions. The issue is in this iteration of the pie chart, you can see chests and mob spawners, and in 1.16, chests can be either bastions, ruined portals, fortresses, so it can get a little confusing which object is where. But in 1.14 and 1.15, the Nether is a lot simpler. And so if I get another spawn like this, and I'm on the correct advanced pie chart right here that shows chests and spawners, if I don't see anything within my rendered chunks of about 15 or 16 and I'm going for a sub 20 or world record run, I'm immediately resetting, so it saves me on reset time. But if I travel in a certain direction and I'm going for maybe a sub 30 type run or something and I see a chest pop up on the pie chart, that means there's guaranteed a fortress in the direction I'm traveling. Eventually, I'm also going to see a spawner, and these are the only two items that show up in this pie chart in the 1.14 and 1.15 Nether. So if I keep heading the direction that I was going, when these things pop up, eventually I'm going to run into a fortress. Now, this can save a lot of time on not only finding the fortress, but also on reset efficiency, which is turning out to be absolutely huge. Moving on to the other advantages in 1.15, you can actually set your respawn at any time. In 1.14, you had to wait till night to set your respawn and sleep, but in 1.15, they made the change where you could actually just set your respawn during the day. There's two reasons this is important. Number one, it gives you an alternative for ocean monuments. We'll see the strategies that are following. You pretty much need an ocean monument or an igloo in order to finish your trades for pearls without using a second day restock glitch. So in an ocean monument, you can actually set your respawn with a bed underneath the monument, and if you get mining fatigued, you can die, respawn, grab all your stuff, finish mining the gold blocks, and then leave the monument without mining fatigue. The second reason setting your respawn is important is because in 1.15 in Monument or Igloo strats, sometimes you're going to be very low on food. And much like 1.16 runners have figured out is that you can actually do a hunger reset during the day. So you can set your respawn with a bed, die, which will reset your hunger and health, gather all your items, and then continue the run. And lastly, version 1.15 was mainly a quality of life improvement update. So the gameplay from 1.14 to 1.15 is largely the same, except there are some optimizations. So there's drastically lower autosave lag. So in 1.14, sometimes you would run into 10 or 20 second autosave lag every 5 minutes, which means you just can't do anything during that time. In 1.15, the autosave lag is maybe 1 to 2 seconds. It's really not super noticeable. The game is less laggy overall, and performance is updated. The shift click to the crafting is kind of something that 1.16 runners take for granted, and I'll show the difference between shift clicking for crafting in 1.14 and 1.15 right here. So in version 1.14, if I have a scenario like this where I wanted to make dandelion suspicious stew, and I have a lot of stuff in my inventory, it might take me a while to find it in the crafting book. But if I have a crafting table in front of me, I would have to do this, maybe use my hotkeys, see where they are, and then I could make suspicious stew. But in 1.15, you could just shift click to the crafting window. The last quality of life improvement actually has to do with which performance mod speedrunners choose to run on that version. In version 1.14 and prior, Optifine was the go-to performance mod, but it's actually kind of debatable how much performance enhancement it gives you, and it has the weird side effect of just completely removing fog in the nether, letting the runner see as far as their render distance would allow and spot fortresses much easier than they would in vanilla, giving the mods and verifiers kind of a weird position to try and ban Optifine. Eventually in 1.16 they did, and Sodium took over as the performance mod that people run, and people are seeing better performance with Sodium and Caffeine mods. There's also more customization and quicker turnaround for improvements in Sodium, and so it's kind of hailed as the better performance mod in general. Now 1.15 doesn't have many runs on the leaderboard, and so mods had the decision to choose one or the other as soon as these 1.15 strategies started to come out, and so they've decided to ban Optifine in version 1.15 as of a couple days ago, but allow Sodium. So Sodium has the advantage in the nether, instead of Optifine just removing fog, Sodium allows you to use the pie chart in 1.15 and also planar fog, which lets you see fairly far, and in 1.15 you need a fortress pretty close, and so I actually prefer the 1.15 Sodium nether as opposed to the 1.14 Optifine nether, even though there's a good amount of fog, just because of the pie chart functionality. One last thing that's interesting is that if you are running version 1.14.4 and you have the latest version of Optifine, which is G5, it actually re-adds the pie chart functionality that is not in vanilla Minecraft. And so mods have also had to ban the pie chart usage in 1.14 in the most recent version of Optifine because it's not in vanilla Minecraft. So be careful if you are running Optifine in 1.14 to not do the Shift F3 pie chart menu for too long, because your run will be denied. Overall, what I see for the future of these two versions is that version 1.14 will stay as the reliable tournament kind of format version for the 1.9 to 1.15 category. I think there are more strategies that you can complete because of the second day restock glitch. That allows you to trade a lot of sticks to one villager to get all of your emeralds for pearls. So I think 1.14 will be the standard version for a sub 30-minute type run, a tournament type run that's fairly linear. You can put everything at spawn. But I think we're going to see a big shift in the meta, and people going for world record and sub 20, even sub 25 type runs will absolutely have to switch to version 1.15. There's too much reset efficiency with the pie chart. It lets you reset your overworlds and nethers much faster, giving you more completable runs per day. And strategies involving monuments and igloos, which are kind of essential to getting sub 20-minute world record type runs right now, don't need the second day restock glitch at all. So there's really no more advantage to 114. So now we get to my favorite part, is talking about strategies. Now I'm going to talk about Insomniac, double day trading, and Igloo strategies, which essentially use only two structures possible to be able to get a sub 20-minute time in version 115. And those two structures are monuments and igloos. I'm specifically going to leave out looting 3 strategies here. I have hard reset for desert temples with looting 3 in the past. I think the amount of seeds and the amount of completable runs you can get per day is way too low with looting 3. I've tried it. It's a grueling strategy. It needs perfect execution, and it's debatable if you can get a reasonable sub 20-minute run with looting 3. So I would highly not recommend anyone to hard reset for looting 3 strategies. That being said, monuments and igloos provide a pretty clear pathway to getting all 12 pearls and sub 20-minute reasonable run. So the first strategy I wanted to mention is this Insomniac idea that Corbanos came out with a video a couple days ago that's pretty good. So I'm not going to talk about it too much. Go watch his video. I'll put it in the link in the description. But the basic idea about Insomniac strategy is pretty similar to my 1.14 Pirate Monument kind of strategy, where you get, instead of doing a shipwreck, monument, and nether, and then finding a village and trading day 2, you're basically looking to get all of your emeralds and loot your monument for gold and find a village with a brewing stand before about the 7-minute mark, so that you can trade and do one single gold restock with a cleric before 7.5 minutes, where he can no longer restock. And then you go to the nether after you have 12 pearls all day 1. And so it's a pretty tight timing window. You need very good execution and a very good seed to be able to pull off all 12 pearls before 7.5 minutes. This strategy was mainly pioneered and optimized by Duncan Runs. I think Sharpie Man and Sichi did a lot of work on this as well. And Corbanos has kind of been the guinea pig, running this on and off stream a lot for the last few days. It's been very difficult for him because, as you can imagine, it's very hard to hit that timing window of 7.5 minutes having all 12 pearls. And then you need a really good nether and a really good stronghold. That being said, I think it does result in the most reasonable, kind of fastest 115 strategy time among the 3 that I'm showing here. Although it does probably give you the lowest amount of completable runs because the timing window is very strict and needs a very fast runner to complete it. In the second column here, I'm showing the times for a reasonable set seed. So these were seeds either randomly found or seed searched and ran by either me or Corbanos. I didn't want to do one for Insomniac because he kind of already did that. So I didn't want to steal anyone's thunder, but he did get a pretty fast sub 15-minute time. And I think with more running, maybe a little bit better seed, he probably could have gotten something closer to a 13-minute run. I think these other 3 strategies that I ran are pretty close. I think the last 2, there was kind of bad terrain. I had to run around a lot, or boat over around icebergs and stuff. So I lost a couple minutes to bad terrain in these other ones. They weren't seed searched. These were just kind of randomly found seeds. So I think they're all pretty close and can all very reasonably sub 20. But I think if you're looking for the best possible scenario, I think Insomniac getting your 12 pearls first and then going to nether is going to result in the fastest, potentially world record time. The next strategy I want to talk about is this double day trading idea, or double doi trading, because Doi Pingu did come up with this one, the trading route specifically. So I'm really excited about this one, and I think it is almost as fast as Insomniac, and it has a much higher chance of completing the run. And I think the best reasonable chance at beating the current world record, which is set by Doi Pingu himself at around 17 minutes. So double day trading is a very similar strategy to 114 Pirate Monument strats, except you have to split up your gold trading across 2 different days. And it kind of manipulates your reputation with the cleric to give you full discounts. And so essentially you're going to use 24 gold to do a full gold trade day 1. You'll sleep, then you'll gather beds, do whatever else you need to do, gather emeralds, go to nether. And then on day 2, you're going to do a full gold trade of 24 and then another full gold trade of 24. And I'll show in my part 3 video on double day trading exactly how this reputation and trading strategy works. But it essentially gives you exactly 72 gold, all of which are 2 gold per emerald discounted. And so that's exactly one monument. All of the gold is fully discounted exactly as it would be in 114. and you just need a couple more emeralds than in 114. So it's just a really smart use of trading and reputation mechanics that allows you to fully utilize a monument. I decided to also put in a row here for no brewing stand double day trading because it is possible. It does slow you down a bit because you have to do your shipwrecks, monuments, villagers, and nether all day one, and then do one gold trade and then sleep. So it can be a little bit awkward based on timing. The seed I decided to run was really good in the overworld at the start, but had kind of terrible terrain. I had to navigate around a bunch of icebergs and stuff, so it was a couple minutes slower because of that for sure. But I wanted to put that in there because it's the other strategies, Insomniac, double day trading, and Igloo, all require you to have a brewing stand already at some point. So the amount of completable runs are not going to be as high because not a lot of villages have those already. But in this strategy, you can still get a pretty dang good fast-paced run with no brewing stand at your village. And both of the double day trading strategies, I had a coastal village at spawn, which is kind of the best case scenario for the strategy so that you can take a villager hostage and trade with the cleric whenever you want to. But it's actually not required. You can actually do the entire run, find a village in the first stronghold ring, do one trade and then sleep, and then do the next trades day 2. So you don't need to do hostage strat, but taking a hostage with a coastal village off spawn is by far the fastest way to play these two strategies. And of course I have to put igloos in here because I think with the new addition of pie chart functionality, you can actually find igloos way faster. I've only tried running 115 RSG for a few hours. I'm planning on doing it all the time now, but you can find igloos in Tundra much easier. You can actually detect which direction they are and find hidden igloos way easier because you see a brewing stand and a furnace with no bell. So you actually know, guaranteed there's an igloo nearby. So it's kind of a lot more viable now and honestly not as much of a meme as it was before. Definitely in co-ops, I think Igloo is by far the fastest strategy. I think in solos, it's kind of comparable to the others. And I think you need a really good seed and to get really lucky to make Igloos work. But they can work and they can result in a really fast time. I think Insomniac of all these has the fastest reasonable achievable time, but Igloo, if you get an absolute god seed that would have to be insane, you could actually do the fastest strategy ever in this category. You would have to get a shipwreck buried treasure right next to an igloo and get 3 diamonds and mine 10 obsidian while you're waiting for the villager cure. Then you get your 12 pearls, go to Nether, get your blaze rods, and then do educated travel to the stronghold. So I think Igloo technically has the fastest possible 115 strategy time, but it would have to be an absurd seed. So that's why I say the others are more reasonable. And lastly, I wanted to leave you with a trading route for all 3 of these strategies because the amount of gold and emeralds you need in each one of these changes and it gets pretty complicated. So after the end of showing you all these, it's probably best to take a screenshot or something or write these down, commit them to memory because the numbers can get a little bit confusing because they're all a bit different. And again, after this video, I'm coming out with 3 other parts to the series that are going to go through each one of these 3 strategies, show you a real run, a flow chart, how the trading actually works out in real circumstances. So the trading route for Insomniac strategy is going to be fully day 1. We're going to need to do a monument and get a bunch of emeralds and find a cleric. You do 10 emeralds and redstone to start the leveling up, do a full gold trade of 24 gold to get 12 emeralds, and then we need to have the cleric restock before that 7.5 minute mark where the villagers' restocks are locked because we need another full gold trade of 36 gold per 12 emeralds. The first gold trade is going to be reduced because we have a positive reputation from that first 10 trades with redstone, and so we get a discount 2 gold per emerald. But the next trade is going to be a hike in prices because the cleric was out of gold already. So it's going to be 36 gold for 12 emeralds, and then we use all of our remaining emeralds that we've gained to get 12 pearls. And so in total, we need 60 gold and 34 emeralds, which 72 gold we can get from a monument. So that leaves 12 left over to make gold tools. You can make gold axes to help you get wood to get the remaining emeralds, and 34 emeralds, which is kind of a lot. And again, there's going to be a timing ceiling of 7.5 minutes for the cleric restock to occur. So what I mean by timing ceiling is we cannot go slower than that. You can't do this trading after 7:30, so we need to beat that time. So if you cannot make this cleric first restock by 7.5 minutes, the strategy is essentially dead. But as long as you've hit that single restock in gold before the 7:30 minute mark, you can get the remaining emeralds at the village. So you don't have to technically get all 12 of your pearls by 7:30. You just need to get 10 emeralds and a monument done and begin the trading with the cleric around 7 minutes and give him about 30 seconds to hopefully hit that restock. And then you can mine more wood, get hay bales, what have you, to get the remaining emeralds for the 12 pearls. It's just that first gold restock we need to hit a specific timing. Now for double day trading, the timing is a lot more lenient, but we're going to need a little bit different materials and we have to trade in 2 separate days. So on day 1, after we have at least 10 emeralds and we've looted a monument, we get a cleric with a brewing stand. You're going to trade 10 emeralds for redstone, 1 full gold trade, but only 1 full gold trade. And then we're going to have to burn 4 emeralds to lapis in order to level up the cleric to get unlock the pearl trades. At that point, if we don't have any more emeralds besides that initial 10, we'll be left with 8 emeralds to get 2 ender pearls, which is good enough because once we go to nether, we'll have blaze rods. And so at this point, it doesn't even matter if it's day 2 yet, we'll have blaze rods and pearls. So we're only limited by the speed at which we can do the monument and get to nether, and then we get our eyes of ender. So you can actually be going towards the stronghold on day 1 with this strategy, but you will have to wait till day 2 to get the remaining ender pearls. Once you sleep and wait at least 1 minute and 40 seconds for the cleric to do the first job restock, it will restock its trades for free the first time at the beginning of the day once it works. So we again get a discounted 2 gold per emerald trade for a full gold trade first. We wait for a restock, and now we've actually done enough trades with the cleric. We've done way more than Insomniac strategy, and so we actually get more reputation with the cleric. And so it gives us a third fully discounted 2 gold per emerald trade on the other restock. So the 24 gold for 12 emerald trade, we actually were able to accomplish that 3 times because of doing this on separate days and maximizing our reputation so we get the most discounts. So all 72 gold goes into exactly 2 gold per emerald. So we get the same result as if we did this in 1.14, trading a full monument worth of gold. And then we trade the remaining emeralds for ender pearls. In total, you need a full monument, 72 gold, and then only 26 emeralds, which in 1.14, we would have needed 22 emeralds. So it is 4 more emeralds that we have to burn into lapis, but it's really pretty lenient. The timing window for this isn't too bad. Again, the best case scenario is if we sleep between day 1 and day 2 at 10.5 minutes into the run. That's the first time you can sleep. Then you have to wait for the sleep animation, wait 1:40 for the restock. And so the fastest time we could do this, which is what the timing floor is 12 minutes and 20 seconds into the run. But we could already be traveling to the stronghold before that point in time. The timing ceiling is 20 minutes and 30 seconds because if you are really, really slow and you do all of this and it passes not only the first day but also the first night, then all of a sudden we can't sleep and do this double day trick. We would have to do the first day's training and then sleep and then do the second day. So that timing window is pretty reasonable for this strategy. And if you're trading above the stronghold at 12 minutes and 20 seconds, that is an insanely fast-paced run that rivals the other strategies easily. And lastly, the trading route for igloos gets very math heavy and it's pretty complicated because there are different routes to go depending on if you have gold or not. So the most material efficient way to do an igloo is if you have 12 gold and 14 emeralds. You can do different combinations of gold depending on how much you've got. If you have none, you can also just do the trading route with the cleric with 42 emeralds. So in the best case scenario, you would trade 10 emeralds for redstone, 12 gold for 1 emerald each. You would have to burn 2 emeralds on the glowstone trade, but then you get all 12 of your pearls with the remaining emeralds. And you can do that during any day. The timing window, actually, igloos don't have any, so there's no real floor or ceiling. You can do this leveling and pearl trade on any day. If you want more than 12 pearls, you could, of course, do a day 2 or force a restock on the pearl trade if you wanted to, but it's a pretty simple trading route to get the 12 pearls. So again, I think it's you could take a screenshot or just commit these to memory, especially the column on the right. I think it's good if people are going to speedrun this version to have all those numbers memorized. And again, an igloo is going to be very rare to come by, and the seed you would need is extremely rare, but I think it's really important for every runner to know in case they run into one. It's a very powerful strategy, and we could very well see an igloo world record at some point. So if someone gets really lucky. But with that being said, look out for my next 3 videos on each one of these strategies if you want more details and know what to look out for. And with that, good luck running version 1.15.